Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Mohammad Kiani, and I'm excited to present on a topic that is not only transformative, but it's really important to know and use it in proper way. So, emerging technologies in healthcare education uh, and transformative learning in digital age. As a healthcare educators, we are witnessing a paradigm shift and traditional education and teaching methods are no longer sufficient to meet the demands of rapidly evolving healthcare and also healthcare professionals and students. This the old methods are no longer sufficient, and with the rise of technologies like virtual reality, artificial intelligence, simulated-based learning, and so on, we have now incredible resources and tools to enhance how we teach. And more importantly, how students learn and apply their knowledge into workplace and in real world settings. In this presentation, I will give you one overview about a few of those emerging technologies and maybe some examples of each of them and how these technologies and key technologies reshaping healthcare education, how they integrate themselves efficiently, and how we can benefit from those and what challenges we might face using those. So if you want to have access to the slides, this is a code to join the slides and join the QA as I present my content. So go to menti.com and enter this code. Also, the code will be on top of the screen for the whole session. So if you could scan this QR code or use this code to join the presentation, you will have access to slides too. Okay, I will give it 1 minute and then continue to the rest of the presentation.
Can I ask for a moment? I just wanted to introduce you before you start. I know that you have time limits, so you were in hurry to start the meeting. Here I say hello to all my honorable colleagues. I want to say congratulations for this week that is related to education. Most of us devoted all of our lives to education, and we are passionate about it. So this is a chance for me to say happy for this week. As you know, Dr. Mohammad Kiani is a PhD candidate in education. He studies in Brock University, Canada. Currently, he's working on a lot of researches on educational technologies and virtual reality, artificial intelligence, those words that we are hearing them too often these days. And we want to know from his point of view about the simulations in educational game specifically, since I know him before he graduated from our university. His master's in medical education have been done over here. I know he had a lot of research also in Iran, and I was lucky enough to have some of them in common with him. He is also so passionate about this topic, and he has really good experience in this field. He is going to talk about, as he also mentioned, the emerging technologies and the latest discoveries in this area, and also about the tools, how to start using these technologies. We're going to have, for example, 45 minutes. By his lecture is also interactive, so you may have question and answer with the link over here. And if there was any question left and we have time, we're gonna answer them at the end of the session. Thank you for your speech, Mr. Kiani. I'm really happy to have you here in this day, and thanks for accepting to join us with the time difference. We're listening to you. The stage is yours.
Thank you. As I mentioned before, Emerging technologies in healthcare are a significant transformation. So one that is been driven by the rapid integration of digital technology. As we all experience, um, healthcare education after COVID pandemic was changing so fast, and the COVID forced institutions worldwide to rethink how education is delivered. So that creates a lasting impact on remote learning, technology enhanced learning, and at the same time, emerging technology. And it made us to digitally transform across the industries and uh, not not apart healthcare itself, increasing demand for scalable, flexible, and usable technology. Also, with the aspect of personalization, educational solutions that are uh, introduced after the course. So, as educators, we are now tasked with preparing students for a healthcare landscape that is increasingly
Excuse
digital.
me to stop you. There is some problems with your voice. There is a noise when you're talking. If
Okay,
there is the
let me
possibility,
change
can
my
you
mic.
check?
I
Yeah,
have
can you
two
please check
mics.
it?
Probably, if I change to another one,
Thank you very
it
much.
works better. So let me know if it's better now or not. I changed my mic.
Much better, much better.
Okay. So I will continue. That the objective of this presentation is exploring the impact of these emerging technologies and how to use them, from artificial intelligence to mobile learning and other technologies. So together we will look at their application, benefits, challenge, and how we as educators can thoughtfully integrate them into our teaching practice. So the definition of uh, emerging technologies means that novel tools or practices that not yet mainstream. It means that it's not widely used. It's in the first stages, early stage of adoption. So they're not yet part of mainstream healthcare education, but they have strong potential to significantly reshape how we teach and learn. What makes them emerging is their innovation and their capacity to evolve and high impact that they can bring into the education. So those technologies often challenge traditional boundaries and create new opportunities for us to engage accessibility and skill development. Some potential examples, as I mentioned, are VR, AR, AI, gamification, game-based learning, simulations, and so on. And as we move forward, I will give a detailed description and detailed points about each of them. So let's take a moment and understand why emerging technologies matter so much in healthcare education. Firstly, they offer enhanced learning. What was not possible before is now possible. Technologies like virtual reality and simulations immerse students in interactive environments where they can actively engage with the material. Like not nothing before, you have now a flow experience. You have now a kind of experience that learning goes into your uh, brain, into your mind, and beyond passive memorization that was possible before. So you have a near reality experience to promote deeper understanding and retention in the healthcare education. After that, skill development is now more possible, more close to reality, more close to clinical setting that we have. Creating risk-free environments and low-cost environments in virtual reality or with AIs can help us to further support this skill mastery, especially in medical education that creating a standard environment is highly costly and not accessible for everyone. With these technologies, it's easily achievable. Also, it's evidence-based, and there's tons of research on these emerging technologies, and it can be done uh, in a scientific way. So stronger clinical outcomes can be achieved by those. So let's start with answering this question. If you have access to the slides now, you might be able to input some words on this. So what word comes to your mind when you think of technology in healthcare education? You
Excuse me
can
to
just,
stop again. If there is the possibility, you can get a little closer to the microphone. It would help us to hear you
okay,
louder. But your voice is completely clear right now. There is just a
okay,
problem of loudness. Thank you.
okay. I will try to speak louder.
Thanks a million.
Okay. Uh, so I skip this and go to the overview of technologies that I covered for today to get to the point faster. So in next part of this presentation, I will give you an overview of these 8 technologies and these emerging cutting edge technologies that enhance real world learning by new opportunities that they bring. As I mentioned, they are not widely used. This is the nature of emerging technologies, that they are still under development, but you might be able to find use to it in your classrooms, in your own settings, and some of those tools are really cutting edge and offering really good immersive experiences for your students. So let's start with virtual reality as my experience as and my all of my research have been done around this subject for past years. So one of the most immersive technologies in healthcare education today is virtual reality. VR creates fully simulated environments using 3D visuals, motion tracking, and a spatial audio. Also, you can input real-world 360 videos into a VR headset and allowing learner to feel through what they are physically present inside a clinical scenario. For example, you can create a space uh, inside an operation room where one of the most advanced and rare operation happens, and they can understand the complex surgical training and practice those procedures by themselves without risk to patients. It's also used for patient interaction simulations, talking with the patients, and developing empathy, communication, and things like that. So there are tons of use in virtual reality. As you can see, the whole idea is to create and simulate the real world scenarios into visual space and make it risk free and cost uh, brings a lot of cost benefits to the table. So the benefits of VR are powerful. It's provide realistic hands-on experience in a safe environment, and we can talk about the benefits for so long, but the limitations are um, high enough to avoid reaching it and avoid using it in classroom widely. So how quality VR equipment can be really expensive. For example, a VR headset and all the equipments that you might need to use around it is cost about $500 to somewhere around $3,000. So for each student, you have to have that headset prepared. Or if you are preparing a lab for VR, at least you need a couple of those headsets to bring that virtual reality into your faculty and into your students. So the major limitation is cost. And also, you need to be updated. You need a technician to take care of those, and these are not easy equipment to handle. So usually you need a person to be specifically and specialized in VR to run a VR lab. Uh, there are tons of tools that you can use for free or for a small amount of cost. I mentioned a few of them here. CIMIX, Oxford Medical Simulation, Human Anatomy VR, Education XR, and a couple of other those creates VR environments risk-free and easily to use for teachers. So you can take a look at them and see if they work for you. There's one possibility that I think is about 5 years from now, before now, that is in the market. That's 360 videos that we had before that were non-interactive. There are some applications that you can use 360 images and videos and create immersive and interactive visual tours and games with them. So if you want to take a look at those, you can search Panoi. Panoi is a platform that you can use to create visual reality even with your phone. So those are some good tools that you can start exploring. I don't want to talk much about augmented reality since there are a lot of debates and a lot of let's say limitations on that for now, uh, because mostly you need a developer to run those tools and customize those tools, but VR is immersive in entire visual world. AR is enhancing the real world. So you will add a few things in your camera, uh, and with those information or less interactions, you create an interactive information for your students. So AR is used to overlaying information and overlaying interactions to real world with a camera, and developing VR in some tools, AR in some tools uh, is user friendly, but mostly if you want to have something that is works good, you might need to created with the help of developer. But some tools like Complete Anatomy, SentiAR, or AR Anatomy, they are already in the market, and you can use them for your students to teach them those subjects. The most used that I've seen in AR is anatomy for now, but there are tons of other ways to look at it. But still, because of those limitations, development in this field is limited. Okay, moving to the next high-tech and cutting-edge technology, artificial intelligence is truly the most cutting edge and most powerful tool that changes our journey through education for years to come. So when you use machine-enabled decision-making and personalization in education, everything is changed. With the introduction of LMS in past few years, we created platforms to create customization course and online learning possible. But with the help of AI, you can create actually responsive decision making and personalized learning experience that for so long teachers have been waiting for. And this become possible in past few years, like 2 or 3 years. And the debates and in all the conferences and all the presentations is it going to take over the teachers themselves and be the most uh, revolutionary tool in education? And is it scalable to a amount that you adopt every educational concept with an AI tool and have it in your pocket whenever you want, helping you, teaching you, and making you a more powerful person? So answer to all of those is yes. Some of those side effects can be really bad, like affecting teachers' jobs, affecting educational integrity, equity, and things like that. But some common use of AI in education enabled us to include use of smart tutors that adapt content based to student performance, chatbots that walk learners through a learning experience, and diagnostic simulations that help medical students to understand and learn to develop clinical reasoning skills by mimicking real patient presentations. So these were not possible before, but now it is easily possible with chatbots and in the pocket of everyone. But you must be highly skeptic to artificial intelligence. There are tons of concerns around it, especially in ethics, in biases, and security. So this is a thing to consider, and this is a thing to use. Okay, it brings me to the main area that I'm interested in, educational games. As I mentioned, I create educational games in virtual reality, and with the power of AI, I am using the tools in educational games that before it wasn't possible. So this is an exciting approach to in healthcare. The use of educational games are often offered in a word like gamification or game-based learning or digital games or things like that. All means the same with a slightly different definitions, but applying game elements into tools that you have to achieve a better understanding, better motivation, better enjoyment, engagement in your learning. It is something that every teacher likes and every student likes. But you should keep in mind that there are tons of limitation in game development. But even if you are a user and you want to just use a game in your classroom, you might face limitations in running that. But truly, the new generation, especially if we are talking about Generation Z, Generation Alpha now, those students are highly uh, connected with these kind of contents, with creative contents, with things that might in past generation might be a luxury, but for those generation it is a must. So believe it or not, there are all of the research suggests in the next 5 years, game-based learning will be a major tool in all of the universities, and people will use it more often than before for everything. Starting from Duolingo, that I think most of the language learners are using it now, to most advanced virtual reality educational games for simulating experience for the students. So because the AI tool make it possible to have a cheaper development in educational games, possibly in next 5 years, we will see a rise in those products too. Tools like Kahoot, Buddy Interactive, Habitica are some examples that you can use in your classroom to create those kind of interactions. And I will explain at the end how to use these and how to choose the best tool for your educational goal. So you're all familiar with simulation-based learning. So I just want to add a few more things. Uh, in its core, simulation-based learning is a controlled replication of real clinical events. So simulation is closer than reality than everything else, every tool that we have, and designed it to help students practice their skills, apply their skills, knowledge, and improve their decision making without risk of harming actual patient. In some cases, you must have simulation-based learning prior to exposure to a clinical aspect, and These applications of simulations are broadly used and highly impactful in the research. So the thing that I want to mention is these technologies are um, moving forward pretty fast. Mannequins that were uninteractive before now become interactive. For example, CPR models that were before just reactive to specific scenarios, now they have customizable scenarios. I'm sure you have seen those in the like symposiums or seminars inside of the like even there were probably some marketing, let's say, people who introduce their product, but in cutting edge simulation, there are mannequins that actually look like human now, and actually you can interact with them in different ways, and they respond like a human. There is a debate that they might be too expensive and too exclusive for some like high end universities only, but it always starts like that. Any technology is expensive at first, but looking forward, we will see that these high-tech mannequins will take over those like non-interactive, plastic-made mannequins that we used to have. So some of the tools that you can see those simulation is VR patients, full code, CAE healthcare, and Lauderdale. And every company that has mannequins, they have their own tools too. So there's tons of tools to explore. As telemedicine is growing, remote care delivery and virtual training grows too. So supervising students can be done through these tools now, giving them feedback, giving them interview, assessments, and all of those things is possible with telemedicine education. Uh, there are tons of tools, actually Zoom Healthcare, Doxy.me, Teledocs, or even Google tools that are for free can be used in telemedicine education. The whole idea is to uh, create that connection between the like professor and student or supervisor and student with telemedicine. So this is nothing uh, extremely difficult. It's achievable now. It's not any might be uh, different from all other communication technologies that we have in some aspects, but it's not that exclusive anymore. So maybe in next few years, it's not even a cutting edge technology, telemedicine. It is something that we use every day, but still it is, and there are tons of tools that help in that area. So one thing that was really interesting for me is 3D printing and the use of it in education. I never used it in like I never saw it in medical education before, but in past 2 years, as I move forward in my PhD, I saw how potential it can bring to the education. So layer by layer creation of physical objects can be extremely beneficial for healthcare education. Imagine that you can print accurate, replicable organs or tissues and surgical tools for medical students. And it's not that expensive. Actually, it's really cheap now. You can buy a 3D printer and bring it to your home with plastics. You can create anything that you want. You can create pathology models. You can create tumors, diseases, organs to help learners understand abnormalities. I think this is a must in a faculty of medicine or wherever that students need those tools. And these are really accessible now. And you can customize plans, prosthetics, implants, especially in orthodontics or rehabilitation programs and medicine. It can help a lot and bring a lot of possibility to realistic tactical learning that learner needs. Before we have to pay a lot of money to have those moulages or those models, but simply now you can print it with next to nothing. So that's really achievable though. So the next thing that might be a next trend in technology is wearable technologies in education. So smart devices that monitor physiological data like smartwatches, like smart bands, smartphones, ECGs, sleep trackings, rehab progresses, things that we are somehow exposed to them in the medical field, but yet to come to be more popular, yet to come to be more widely used and uh, worn by everybody. So these technologies in maybe next 10 years can bring a lot of different things into possibility. For example, imagine that every patient that you have in your department, in your hospital, has those bands that in real time gives you the feedback on their body and how the blood pressure, blood sugar, everything that you want to monitor in real time in your applications. And you can use AI and you can use those physiological data to predict what happens to that patient. That's pretty cutting edge. And there are some applications in Apple Watch, like Empathekia, Hoop, or Garmin that are for those, and they have an educational aspect to encourage wellness awareness, talk about how you predict about the patient's future with those data. So I will move forward to how to use it, and after that we will have time for question and answer. I will be pretty fast forward and pretty specific about how to use emerging technology. So if you have any question, you can ask in Q&A or in the chat, and I will answer after that. So when it comes to using emerging technologies, it is important to have some specific things in mind. The purpose of using those technologies is guiding educators to implement and leverage existing and customizable techs to enhance healthcare learning. So the first step is to understand what tools are available for you, what is possible for you, and you need something to solve. You need some problem to solve. So match technologies to specific learning outcomes that you want. For example, if you want to teach about anatomy, so you will go through your option. I can use visual reality, I can use pen and paper, I can use videos, I can use, for example, 3D printers and so on. So what specifically you are looking for? Maybe the best option is educational videos. Maybe the textbook is the best option. Based on what educational outcomes you want, you should do the need assessment and you should match the tool that you need to use. This is the most important step. Sometimes we have a tool and it's pretty cool and we want to use it in our education. So we will forget about the learning outcome. In most cases, tech savvies like me do that. They have a technology and they want to use it, no matter if it's helpful or not. So after matching the technologies to a specific learning outcome, you should blend traditional methods with technology, not replace them. So you have both methods for best outcomes because the learner or the educator or educational setting is not like shifting a button or not like just plugging something to it. You have to blend those technologies into your past methods to maintain the best outcomes possible. Since some learner might find it challenging, some learner might learn from it better than past. So there's three steps. I will talk briefly about them. If you want to start with existing technologies, There are tons of things that you can use for free or platforms that you can just use in your classroom. This is the most common thing to use as a teacher. So you don't need any uh, specific tool. You can use existing scenarios and adapt them to your course. Mostly there are free open access, and you can use them as you want. But there is a limitation that you must consider. You have to train faculty to use those, train students to use those, and you must make sure that their devices is compatible with them, or if there is a licensing issue, you must consider that too. In next step, you might consider customizing an existing technology. The best um, example that I can get is customizing an AI tool like ChatGPT to write the ChatGPT for a Q&A in ethical simulation or anything else. So you have a tool, but you change it somehow to your uh, goal or to your educational outcome that you are aiming for. So the educator role here is more than a designer than a user. So you design something for your education. Sometimes you need to collaborate with an IT professional or developer to customize those experiences, and sometimes you have to make sure that you are doing it correctly in a specific for this customization. Sometimes you need professional help, sometimes you can do it by yourself. And the next level, if it's creating your own technology. For example, you want to write an application, create a game, or create a technology that were never existed before. So uh, some of those creating tools like Unreal Engine, Unity helps you design applications. Some of the other tools like Visual Studio, like Android Studio, helps you create applications. So based on what platform you want to deliver, you will use a tool to develop a tool. This is a highly, let's say, interdisciplinary approach. So you need a team of developer, clinicals, educators to plan something, for creating something, and then created by the developers, and maybe you market them and fund it. So your challenges will be the team and the money that you want to put on it. So I will skip this too, since we are limited in time. In 5 minutes, I guess I'm done, and we can have questions answered. So when you want to integrate technologies into clinical setting, there are a few things to keep in mind. You should always collaborate with clinical educators and see their challenges and their approaches to overcome those challenges and use those. You should provide training for using those technologies. Start with a low-cost pilot. Don't go crazy about it. Collect data for improvement. This is really important. There are many benefits for stakeholders. Students can use those tools to active learn everything. Their feedback system can help educators to decide what to do next. It enables flipped classroom, self-promotion learning, offers data on students' performance and competence, and lots of other opportunities that these emerging technologies can bring that past technologies and like mainstream technologies cannot. So those interdisciplinary approach, those high-tech technologies are like with a tons of benefits. That's why we're using them. There are tons of technical channels too. So because they are cutting edge, because they're still in the under development, you have a high cost of tech. You will see resistance to the change, especially in AI. You will see a lot of shortage in hardware because universities are not ready to have those technologies. You might have to provide it yourself. There are many fragments in ecosystem that you are using. For example, you might buy a VR headset, but softwares that you need to run that might not be available in your like area or in your university. This is really important. There are tons of technical challenges prior to using any of those technologies. You must address those too. And one of the most important thing is ethical and privacy consideration, which is really, really validated and which is really important in the education and securing learners' data collection, privacy issues, and also equitable access regardless of like socioeconomical level is really important to keep in mind. So if you want to have an effective use, if I want to wrap up, you must understand the tools, you must find a good gap for using that, and you must collaborate efficiently with clinical educators, IT, and other researchers that are in your area. Also, join professional communities that help you to understand your area better. There are a lot of possibilities in future AI tutors, wearable technologies, AR, VR, ASCII assessments, predictive analysis of identifying student needs, and so on can be used in the educational setting in future. But if you want to be a part of cutting edge technologies, remember you have to be a digital change agent yourself. You must learn those skills. You must know how to work with AI. You must know how to develop a tool. Not entirely, but have a good understanding about it. If you want to do something extraordinary for your students, start with learning about those tools, start reading about the research that is around that, and you will evaluate and polish your curriculum based on that. And it supports your learning a lot. So emerging technologies are revolutionizing how future healthcare professionals are trained. With AI, with VR, and with tools that I mentioned, future will be changed. And if you don't learn how to use those, you might not be as efficient as before. So increase using those tools, make yourself familiar with those, and predict how future might look like and adapt with that. I suggest at least use AI, at least learn about AI as much as you can as a teacher, because this is something that you have to work with it a lot. And even in my classes at university, all of my students are using AI. And with this, even with the strict policy, you cannot avoid that. You have to adapt to it. Change your assessments, change your uh, teaching methods, change your tools that you use in your classroom to adapt with new generation. Students won't adapt to you. You must adapt to students. Remember that and start small. Involve learners to your ideas and always evaluate. And it's time, if there is any questions, I will answer those. Let me see the chat here. I must unshare. Okay.
Thank you very much again for this informative presentation. That's a fascinating, newly started path. And of course, your data was a very good and brief review about the concept. Everyone, thank you all for attending this webinar. I kindly ask you to check the message that is here written by Tehran University of Medical Sciences about a reminder to fill out the form and change your names to your complete name. That while I'm looking, everyone did it, even myself. I was Niayesh too. Okay, we are here to answer your questions if there is any. I don't see any. Do you, Muhammad, do you see any messages over here?
No, not on my side.
I don't see too.
I will give it a few minutes if anybody has something in
Okay,
mind,
very
or if you want to ask something. I guess we have a few more minutes.
very good. You know what?
Dear
Maybe,
Dr.
yeah.
Dear Dr. Mohebbi, can you ask
Well,
some question about the presentation?
of course, of course.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. Dear Mohammed, for your nice and informative presentation. And we can give some data about the different application of technology in teaching and learning process. Many thanks. And for two questions, as you know, one of the major concerns in using technology, including special artificial intelligence in these days, is considering the ethical issues of its uses. For example, about the plagiarism and cheating during the using of data delivered from AI chatbot, or about the availability of data or hallucinations. For my question is how we can control these ethical concerns, and which practical points that should be followed in this regard. And another question is about how can we immerse students in simulation environments so that they can understand the feeling of being in an environment similar to their real workplace. For example, about how we can flooding the students in the simulated environments in this technology. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Makinejad. For your first question, and foremost, the secure handling the learners and the plagiarism part is a concern since the AI chatbots introduced in like past 2-3 years, and every university and every technology professor in the university had this concern, and it's yet to be solved. But in my research, I did it a lot because I'm using AIs and I'm using a lot of technology in my research. So this was something important for me, and I found this answer to this question as I looked backward to history and how those technologies came and how they emerged into the classroom, like calculators. When they first introduced, there was a high like intense, like, let's say, battle between uh, math teachers and calculator. You cannot use it. If you use it this way, you will be failed, or it's not good for your learning. But they found their place in the education. But the concern about the AI is that you replace your brain with a chatbot or with a you know, a tool that like acts as your brain, and with providing information or knowledge, it really does a good job. But the main concern remains that what was the goal of our education if an AI have to give answers or solve assignments or you know, do everything for us. So it brings us back to the nature of education. I guess the policies that we have now is to limit in every university and every major thing that I see. But in, let's say, educational technology professors suggest that you change your way of approaching students, assessments. And recently I have that experience too, that uh, when you ask traditional questions or traditional ways of assessment to students, they can bypass those with AI. They can give you an assignment that is well written, and you cannot tell. AI detectors don't work at all. So you will see that you will end up with like marking 50 students that have the exact same answers or somehow close to each other. So this is, I guess, the most feasible and the most practical way to approach this student use of AI and avoiding plagiarism is to have specific boundaries about how to use AI rather than avoiding it all. For example, you can say, you can use AI, you have to cite AI if you use it. If you use ChatGPT or if you use Grammarly for correcting your writing, it is okay. But beyond that, it's not okay. When it comes to assessment or assignments, for my last course, I used video assignments instead of written assignments. I asked students to record a video of themselves talking about something or solving a problem. There are a lot of tools to avoid plagiarism, and because there are a lot of tools to do plagiarism now. So I think the main solution will be redesigning the educational assessment, redesigning the educational experience that we are creating for our students. Uh, there's not a solid answer yet to that question. This is a big concern in every university and every educational setting that we have, and unfortunately, new generation are uh, born with those tools, and they know better than us. Even those with high skill technology, the professor with high skill technology, they can use it better. And no matter how hard you and how strict you are, even if you give a zero, if you see one, they're gonna use it, and sometimes you cannot understand. So I guess the best way is redesigning things and coming up with that. If you are fostering, or if you are encouraging critical thinking, you should design an assessment that actually measures critical thinking. Or if we are used to MCQs for like tests, and we want to do it online, we have to do it in a way that cheating is not possible with AIs. So um, that's the thing that I think. For your second question about immersive tools and using those into classroom, um, the gap and the challenge is the same everywhere in the world. But I guess starting using those immersive visual reality is something, and using them properly to have that experience, have that flow experience, have that immersive, like, let's say, feeling is something else. For example, if we are talking about um, medical students who wants to have early exposure into the clinical setting, maybe a 360 video that is played in a cheap headset would be enough. That you create a video inside the clinical setting, inside of like, let's say, physical examination of a patient, and let them use the headset to see how it looks like. And it can be played like in a specific time in their course. For example, when they pass certain subjects, they will do the early exposure in the lab, and they again go study, and they do one other exposure at the end, for example. But finding the proper immersive tool, especially in VR, sometimes is challenging because there are limited tools available. I know in anatomy there are tons of tools in VR, especially, and they are free. So this is just a matter of having that headsets in your faculty and in your, like, say, in your department. But for other things like, let's say, physical examination, let's say patient interaction, you often have to pay a lot to have those tools to use. So if I want to wrap up, you should do a need assessment about the gaps that you have in education. You should find the tools, the VR tools that are available. I suggest using cheap tools like 360 videos or visual tours for students that are not required to have a VR headset, and you can actually play them on a flat screen or a VR mobile, or there are a kind of headset that we call it cardboard. I can show you. I have it here. These headsets doesn't have any uh, like hardware. They're just two lenses, and you can put your phone inside it, and it acts as a VR headset. And they might be less than $10. So I guess creating those, let's say, experiences is not that expensive anymore, and it's really helpful. I use them. I used it in my research, and I got a really good result in students' feedbacks.
Thank
I
you.
hope I answered your questions.
Mohammed, while you were talking about the first question, I wanted to add something. I want to know your idea. You know, based on our educational system, some of our students doesn't want to become the real skillful person. They want to have the degree. That's
Yes.
my experience. But I have seen some other, you know, in the family, some students who are studying abroad, they use ChatGPT and rest of the materials to help them to learn better because they think that I want to be this, for example, psychologist. They ask the ChatGPT, please imagine this, for example, complex. I didn't get it very well. Can you please design a scenario in an office with a person with this complex and for example the boss like that, and they give them some maybe podcasts, some scenarios that they can learn better. They use this to help them to understand better. That's
Well,
why while I was teaching, I tried to explain it to my student that don't think that your goal to be over here is just having the degree, for example, PharmD degree, medical degree. We are here to help you be a skillful doctor when you're working. My question is it right now we all think that we should learn all these things because our mind is necessary. Why? Because all of the artificial intelligences currently are not as good as us most of the time. And you need to know every mechanisms to check them to see if they're working correct. I want to see is it possible in the near future, or does literature mention something like this, that the way of learning is going to change? For example, we
yeah.
as old people think that they should know everything in detail, but because the artificial intelligence and the computers can do that for us, maybe the new people who are working doesn't need to know them, and the type of the professions and type of the skills that we need is changing. Is it something like that happening, or that's only my
Uh,
imagination?
yeah, no, it is happening, but let me put it this way. So this is not in literature. It's a really let's say new subject to have research on. So you may not find evidence or valid data on how it's gonna be in the future, or it's only predictions by like let's say specialists or people in the field. But I have been in a few conferences and a few events that specifically were aimed to see about AI and the future and how it's going to change. So in theory, in like in paper, in theory, we might have a shift in education, a shift in market of teaching, and it might eliminate every teacher in the market, not just medical teacher, every teacher that exists, but it's not practical. See, if you look backward and if you see what happened with social media, what happened with online tools that we had before, it somehow finds its place into our daily life. But with AI, there is a concern that using it will change the way that we learn, as you mentioned. And this is true. In cognitive science and in, let's say, learning psychology, we had a specific loops for learning, a specific methods of teaching, like behaviorism, cognitivism, that tries to explain how we learn and how we adopt, how we improve. But with AI, even those theories are changing now. They say if you have a customizable tool, and if you have chatbot that is smart enough to understand you and gives you feedback, you might not learn as before. Since these chatbots have algorithms, like Instagram Explore, that you, when you open it, when you search for food a lot, you see food a lot. You know what I mean? When you interact with your AI, and you are a person who has, let's say, a specific preparation in education. For example, you like math more than like science. You like talking with people. You don't enjoy like different ideas. So the AI will give you what you like, and this will not be like before, that you will you would expose to different ideas, different perspectives, and you see how many different ideas are there, and you decide which one makes sense and which one don't. In future, maybe students just learn what AI teaches them, and they don't have the opportunity to see other perspectives. But this is also something that they predict and something that might not be true. But what we see about this assumption is true, because the same thing happened with the student. They ask something. If you have students that use AI, you know what I mean. You see that they have a specific generative pattern. You see that they have a specific output, and when you approach them, they always give you the same answer. Meanwhile, before, it was different. When you have students, when you ask them the same question, you get different answers. So this raised the you know awareness and assumptions that it might be the case that the way that we are learning is different, the way that we think is different, because we are using a specific tool like regularly, and it's really changing us. So yes, I guess the answer to your question is yes, and it will change our way of understanding, but nobody's sure how. As they thought that social media may change the way that we are learning and that we are marketing, and it changed, but in a different way. Maybe in future it changed. For sure it changed, but maybe in a different way.
So it's both interesting and frightening at the same time.
Yeah, it's really scary. Yeah.
Thank you
But
very
I'm not positive about AI, and most of the people who are interested in education or into educational technology are not positive about AI. They see a lot of things that might be harmful.
Exactly. I feel the same. I hope that we are just putting our rigid side to the progression and change. But as you mentioned, I also not positivist about this. Okay, thank you again for having this time with us. I think there is no other question, but I want to repeat, if there is any questions, let us know. I want to repeat that please check out the TUMS Tehran University of Medical Sciences message, because you need to fulfill the form for the completion of your registration. And while I'm looking, most of your names is quite complete, so there is no problem in this case. Let me see if there is. Oh, thank you very much. Tehran University mentioned again the message. I know that today was not a good day for you, and I know you were having another thing coming up. So I just want to ask if there is anything you want to mention at the end of the session, and hope to see you again in Tehran University of
Yeah.
Medical Sciences programs afterwards.
Thank you. And I just want to mention that if you, as a teacher, want to use a specific technology or emerging technology, don't be afraid of that. It's not like before, even it's not like 2 years before now. It's really easy to have those in the classroom, and it will help you. Believe me, if you give it a try, you will find a lot of benefits in it. And if anybody has any questions or any follow-up questions, I will put my email into the chat. You can send me an email, and I'll always be happy to answer that.
Thank you, Dr. Mohebbi, for your good reminder. Everybody, I want to kindly ask you if there is the possibility that you can open your cameras, because we want to have a picture together. Do that so we have a, I don't know, that's the Jami in English. Opposite of axe tacky in the picture. Having a picture with everybody. If you have time, Mohammed, let us wait for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Dr. Makiabadi joined us. Who else is okay to turn on the camera? If there is any chance, we will wait. No worries. Thank you. Dr. Sabuhi joined us. Thank you very much. Dr. Ayubzadeh, would you please put the 3 buttons over near your name so you can add name and your family name because of the registration procedures. My colleagues asked for that. Thank you, Dr. Mohebbi. Same family name. Nice to meet you. Okay. Another person. Is there anybody else can join us in our group picture? Okay. Mohandes Sadeghi, I guess you have my voice, so I ask you to please take a photo.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. If you can open your camera too, we would like to have you in the picture too. Thank you, Dr. Tokamani joined us. And that's it. We are ready, but please say 1, 2, 3, so maybe the picture seems better.
Yeah, I took pictures.
Okay. Was my mouth open or that was closed? Hopefully. Okay. Thanks for everybody. Nice meeting you all over here. Again, thank you. Thanks, Dr. Mohebbi, for this opportunity. I know she did everything to make the appointment for this session. And thank Dr. Mohammad Kiani again for joining us for today's lecture. It was very informative. I hope everything goes well and we are not going to extinct it by the AI. Take good care of yourself.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you.
I
Thank you
guess
for your
that's
time.
morning for you, so have a lovely day. And for the rest of
Yeah.
my colleagues, have a good afternoon. Take good care of yourself. See you around.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you,
you.
Dr. Mohebbi. Thank you, Dr. Mohebbi. See you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye.